And this is the cutting test for the Maddo Goddo Handmade Katana from Romance of Man. It's the spring steel katana for 150 euros. And the first obstacle is a pool noodle, an old pool noodle. It's very soft, so it's a very demanding test. The pool noodle test has the purpose to show if there are any micro chunks in the blade and how much force do I have to use to cut something. If I don't have to use much force and the pool noodle cuts, it's a very sharp blade. So here we have the blade. There's no damage to the blade, but there are also nearly nothing of the pool noodle itself stuck to the blade, and there's no micro chunks, no scratches. And the first cut was fine, so I have the little bit resistance at the top of the pool noodle, and it goes through. The edges are not very clean, it's ripped out. The second cut also got through, but the force, as you see here at the third cut, didn't go through, and the pool noodle was bending, so it's not very a good test for sharpness, and due to the pool noodle. And then now with tatami mat, it's even demanding because I didn't water it. Normally tatamis are wet, and so you can perform a better cut, but you can do it also with dry mats. That's even difficult for the blade to come through. As you can see, I get nearly 80% through the mat, but it didn't cut through. There's a little bit of sharpness to the sword, and it's a little bit top heavy, I think. And you feel how the force impact back to the handle if it's come to the tatami mat. So it's a nice sword for cutting. I think it could be a little bit sharper, so we have to work after that. And I wasn't sure at this point if I'm doing my cutting right. I had a lack of training the last month, but I was compared this later to my other sword, which I used for cutting, to have a reference. And here we have a blade. It's unharmed, no chunks, no scratches. It's performed very fine, as expected for spring steel. That's what I wanted. I wanted a blade which I can do cuts without any damage to the blade. And now we change to the YAMAMOTO no Hanzo katana, the tempered blade, which actually can cut like this, but it's also, because of a dry mat, a real different performance. So it's not that bad in comparison to the YAMAMOTO. The Maddo Gaddo could cut well, I think, and it's about a little bit of sharpness in the end.